vision, leadership, workplace-related topics. The Voices of Victory podcast show. Subscribe today. Let's go.
Vision, leadership, self-esteem, workplace-related topics.
Subscribe.
The Voices of Victory podcast show.
Voices of Victory.
Vision,
Voices of Victory.
leadership,
Voices of Victory.
workplace-related topics.
The Voices of Victory.
Voices of Victory. Voices of Victory. Voices of Victory.
It's time for the show. You are now listening to the Voices of Victory podcast show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Di Leone.
Hello and welcome to the Voices of Victory podcast. I am your host, Mario Di Leone, where we talk about all things leadership, all things vision, all things self-esteem related, workplace related. And today is going to be yet again another episode. It is a spiritual episode. So if spirituality is not your thing, find another episode. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right. We're going to talk about Leadership Sutra, the Leadership Sutra, which is Sutra number 2, which we're going to actually discuss. And if you're from India, chances are you'll probably enjoy this a great deal. So with the second sutra, this is literally like I title it Invincible Wisdom. I really do. Now, what do I mean? Well, we're going to set the stage for transformational leadership because it's not merely about navigating the external world. It's about mastering your inner world to shape an alternative outside reality. So the journey into this invincible wisdom, it draws deeply from the Indian scriptures, okay? It illuminates the pathways that transcend grief, that transcend pity, transcend shame, all right? The mind's internal GPS system, I've always talked about that, is that your mind is your GPS, your brain is your GPS of your life. And today we're going to delve into the Sutra number 2. This is where we unravel the leader's responsibility to redefine reality. This is fueled by unselfish work and guided by evenness of the mind, to be even, to be fair, to have that sense of fairness. Now, when we talk about grief or pity and shame, you got to understand the ancient texts often portray the mind as a restless wanderer. You know, the monkey mind, a monkey swinging from one emotion to the next, right? Going from grief, going from pity, going from shame, they're not mere obstacles. The way we can understand them nowadays is that our feelings, our pain that we feel, pain are signals. So these are not mere obstacles, but they're signals. And the GPS of the soul, it's like we're getting signals. So these emotions, they alert us to areas of life where we're either attaching too harshly or we're disconnected or we're misaligned, like we're not connecting to our values. So when we're misaligned with our values, we can be misaligned with the purpose. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that grief arises when the self identifies with the transient losses rather than the eternal truths. What do I mean by this? Well, I always talk about the concept that there's a start date and an end date for everything. There's a start date and there's an end date for everything, and that includes human life. So yes, when humans die, you cry. That's what you do. You feel pain. You process the pain. You process the grief. You feel it, you let it wash over you, but you understand the eternal truth that nothing is permanent. Now, you might say, does that make it feel better? No, you're supposed to process your feelings. You're supposed to move through your emotions. You're supposed to feel your pain. You have to feel all that. But it is an internal truth of understanding to help you understand that there's a start date and an end date for everything. That losses are transient losses. That's an eternal truth that you're going to lose people. For people to say, oh, my family's going to live forever, my parents are going to live forever. No, that's clinging on to the fantasy. You're hanging on to that projection, not understanding the eternal truth, that the transient nature of all things. So you have to be able to feel your feelings, but interpret these signals not as barriers, but an invitation to grow beyond the limitation. You see? So it's like you understand the start date and end date. You feel your feelings, but it's an opportunity to really transcend and grow past that on a spiritual level. Got it? So that's what it comes down to, because most people say, well, the start date and end date concept, it's like, oh, are we supposed to be depressed about that? Should we be morose about that? And the answer is no. You should have appreciation appreciation for when they're alive, everything around you, right? Because everything that's outside of you is temporary. The car you're in will belong to someone else one day or be scrapped in the yard. The house you're in will be sold. The people that you know will fall away. A great way to look at life is you spend the first 30 years of your life learning how to play the game of life, whether or not the instructions were conveyed properly. You spend the second 30 years of your life playing that actual game. And you spend the last 30 years of your life letting go of that game. Letting go of the friends, letting go of the house, letting go of the car, letting things go to the next generation, right? You start to realize that everybody's falling away around you. That's what happens. That's the 3 phases of life there, from kind of a warrior monk point of view. So leaders have to interpret those signals, the pain that we feel. We have to process it, feel it, understand that it's not a barrier. It's an invitation to grow. It's an invitation to move beyond our limitations. So when we are creating an alternative reality, we have to understand what they call Maya. Maya is the big illusion. Now, does that mean reality is a physical illusion? So yeah, what you can understand by the whole Maya is illusion thing, Maya is described as an illusion because it represents all the things that are temporary. That's really what you should understand about it. It's that ever-changing nature of the material world, and people fall into the perception that things are going to be permanent. Oh, my parents are going to live forever. That's a nonsensical projection. Okay, that's completely untrue. It's a fantasy. It's people fall into that fantasy role. We forget about that changing nature of the material world. We mistaken that perception as an ultimate reality, thinking that our family is going to live forever, right? And that's the thing. Why do we have appreciation? Well, it helps you understand you should be appreciative while they're here. But we don't fall into the appreciation because we're too busy living out that tick-tock, punch-in, punch-out way of life. We're so attached to the grind, the hustle mentality, right? And again, this concept is central to Advaita Vedanta, which I'm not going to get too deep. It becomes a very deep philosophical concept, a school of Indian philosophy, and it starts stepping into non-dual nature, and that's not where I want to take my show. Now understand, why is Maya considered the illusion? Why? Well, it's the impermanence of the material world. The house, the car, the microwave, all those things, they come and go. They come and go. Doesn't mean we can't appreciate them or take care of them. We can still hold value to them, but clinging on to them is a major illusion. I am my car. No, you're not your car. Your car is just an object. It will come and go. Right? So according to texts like Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, everything in the material world, our possessions, our bodies, our relationships, even our emotions is transient. So Maya creates the illusion that these temporary things are permanent. And it gives us the idea that they're essential to our identity. Like, we are the car, we are the house, we are the success. We fall into all that. But the true Atman, if you're not familiar with the Atman, it's the eternal. The eternal. Think of it as like, if I had to give an Americanized version, it's like the eternal soul essence of who you are beyond your body. So the true self, if you will. So it's untouched by fluctuations of this world, of this physical realm, right? So the Bhagavad Gita says, what is unreal has no being, and what is real never ceases to be, right? That's Bhagavad Gita 2:16. Now, with that being said, it's the veiling of the true self, right? So Maya obscures the ultimate reality, and that reality is that it's a unified reality, all of us together, right? We're all in this world together. So we could go down that road, but we're going to take it right back into understanding that the illusion of the material world teaches us that reality is not fixed. It's subjective and it's malleable, like metal. Aluminum is malleable. You could shape it. Gold is malleable. You could shape it. So a leader's power lies in their very ability to craft a vision that transcends the immediate, right? It's all about reframing a challenge as an opportunity. It's all about engaging deeply with Dharma, the principle of order, right? Think of it as connecting to your purpose, the why you are here. It is understanding that a leader can create an alternative reality that inspires others, uplifts others. And as the Upanishads state, you are what your deepest desire is. As is your desire, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny. Now, motivation is connecting to the mind as we have desires. And of course, the monkey mind comes in. The restless, distracted, all these distractions. We live in a world of constant distraction nowadays. And this distraction, it thrives on information overload, temporary highs, getting attached to pleasures so much that we literally lose our way. We lose our sense of values and sense of self. And leadership requires taming this mind and requiring and redirecting its energy towards enduring motivation. Okay, so in the Ramayana, Hanuman, the deity Hanuman, exemplifies this discipline. Okay, despite the immense power, his motivation is rooted in seva, a selfless service to a higher cause. So leaders who align their motivation with service can channel that monkey mind, that fluctuating brain. We start to focus and we become purpose-driven. We realize that there's something bigger than us. It's purpose-driven action. It's unselfish work. So it's the foundation of inspiration. And true leadership is born from unselfish work. And the Gita emphasizes nishkarma karma, action performed without attachments to the fruits. What that means is literally taking your efforts of what you've done and hand it over to the universe and say, I'm giving this up for the, I'm putting this out there to you, that I'm basically going to give all my efforts out into the world and that these are not for me. These are for all of us. So one way to look at it. There are many ways to kind of talk about it, but attachment to the fruits, like you could have goals. You could have goals and you could have desires. That's fine. You could try to reach those goals. You could try to reach those desires. That's fine. But attachment to the outcome takes you out of the process. If you're future focused all the time, you're not focusing on the work. And when you're focused on the work and you're focused on the work at 100%, operating at 100, full power, full capacity, you operate at 100. And when you do, the results come out and they come out on the other side. We're not guaranteed those fruits, but we give our 100%. We give our 100%. What this does is this detachment, it fosters an evenness of mind. It allows leaders to remain steady, give their 100% amidst the success, amidst the failure, and the inspiration arises when the focus shifts from your personal gain to the collective growth. So when you take your results, all of those results, all of those outcome thinking mentalities, and you offer it up to the collective. You say, this is for the total of humanity. This is for the world, right? This is not about being a martyr. This is simply about channeling your efforts to make a difference in a greater good of all of us. As Swami Vivekananda once said, they alone live who live for others. So this evenness of mind, it's anchored in intellect. It's driven by the heart. And this evenness of mind, or what we call samatva, right? It's the hallmark of a wise leader. It is the ability to stay balanced in joy, balanced in sorrow, guided by the intellect, and driven by the unselfishness. So this intellect provides clarity and discernment. Discernment is one of the hugest qualities. It's one of the biggest things I've ever had to learn in my life, and it's the most powerful thing I've ever learned. Viveka, discernment. While the heart ensures compassion and connection, this balance creates invincible wisdom, a state where the leader becomes a source of strength and inspiration for others. So the big conclusion of all this, the Sutra of Invincible Wisdom, is to lead and embrace the mind's signals, process our pain, process our feelings, reframe reality, and we don't want to have a point of view of selfishness. It is unselfish work. To be a leader is to be unselfish work and to cultivate that evenness of mind. So the Indian scriptures, they remind us that leadership is not about commanding others, but about mastering oneself and being able to offer your 100% of your results to the collective growth of everyone, where every individual feels empowered to rise above their limitations, contribute to a shared vision as we understand that. So as we close here today, let's just understand the words from the Upanishads. From untruth, lead me to truth. From darkness, lead me to light. And from death, lead me to immortality. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, it's a hard pill for some people to actually swallow, especially for people that are non-spiritual. Non-spiritual people will struggle with this. A spiritual person will understand the principle. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next sutra.